Yes, that's also true. The global intelligence agencies use passkeys, or what we call security access to screens, as the means to hide their crimes. Hide their crimes. Okay, the eternal sign. Everything is transparent. All screens become transparent. You can't lock out God's source, the eternal source, access to every library, every key code, every file. And so it becomes what I used to call as a child an exercise in futility, because God's light is everywhere. You can't escape first light. So everything that happens within first light. But the question is whether they have a connection to the core, a direct silver cord to the silver and gold mated one, to experience pure, eternal, absolute love in their own state of mind, to experience perfect balance, divine right timing. So I just use a few examples, like with my own life, of what I learned through experience. So I've shared a couple of files before. When I was growing up and I worked in fire control with the U.S. Forest Service, I transferred to the U.S. Navy and worked at weapons of mass distractions. Right, the radiological, neurological, biological, and chemical weapons storage depot in Steel Beach, California. And then right across the street is where the Information System Command is, next to Satellite Systems Command, which is Skynet's, all your polar operating Skynet satellites, and then Space Transportation System Command, just north of that facility and down in California with the shuttle project, or the project, a speakerphone project. So you needed, if you were going to be on that base, in this case, I'm working in fire control. So you have a key to every door, because you need sprinklers, you need a protection system to protect your crimes, because you're working on the crime. So there was a building there on that base. So just to be on the base, you needed a top secret security clearance. But because the Department of Energy were conducting experiments, you needed a Q17, quantum intelligence clearance. So they gave me a QI clearance, okay, which is known as a Q clearance, Q17. Yeah, the number 17. 1 plus 7 is 8. 1 times 7 is 7. Right? And what's 17 is 17? 36. Now we're at 18. 9. 9-ball double diamond. Tetrahydrolase fused with helium. Lighter than air. Burn of gas and noble gas. The Breatharian form and flow doesn't require parasiting on another electrical being. Harvesting electrical power, harvesting DNA to run future DNA experiments. That's why they harvest and scan DNA. Future versions of super soldiers, future versions of androids, future versions of DNA experiments, forced breeding experiments, adrenochrome factories, and why we're here after 3 trillion years of genetic engineering experiments. And ones that fail, the failures. That's why we don't play the blame game. To experience no power. To experience maximum power, the eternal power source. So with security clearance, that's access. Now we have access to the crimes. So you see how this plays out in the courts, right? You don't have a clearance. You don't have a clearance through one of the global intelligence agents to have access to what we have access to. And since you don't have a clearance, we're not obligated to give you the data. We have access to the data, but you don't have access to the data of all the crimes. And that's how they play that game of ping pong. That's the Boris of Mason's quarantine. That's why we're here. Extraction. Pulling shattered crystal soul fragments back into the whole. Not a whole. To experience being whole. The still point of a true vacuum. There's only one. There's only one eternal source field. That's the one I am. I'm Anawaya. That's why I'm here. Have a beautiful day. Muaveaya.